Seriously Sinister discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or it could be easy listening to all of you psychopaths out there.
Names and places have been changed to protect the hosts legally.
Listener discretion is not advised. Seriously Sinister.
Welcome to Seriously Sinister, when you bite into a fresh chocolate chip cookie and realize it's raisin.
Oh.
This is Trevin.
And I am Amanda. That's disgraceful, Trevin.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest tragedies of my childhood is anytime you would go and say cookie and it's a chewy ass raisin.
I really hope that our show isn't a childhood tragedy for somebody.
Well, there are a lot of childhood tragedies in our stories, but hopefully the act of listening to us is not a childhood tragedy.
Oh my God. So what is your dreadful dilemma this week, my friend?
So my dreadful dilemma this week, I just want to sit down and have a little talk about a social media app. I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know if our listeners have ever heard of it. It goes by the name of TikTok.
Oh, lordy lord.
Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm going to make a dreadful dilemma about TikTok. It's obviously going to be that I'm obsessed with it and I can't stop watching it, because that seems to be everybody's dilemma these days.
Uh-huh.
But it is not. As you know, I'm a freshly 32-year-old man. And I don't want to be like my more conservative forefathers who fought change and didn't want to get with the times.
Right.
We did create a TikTok account a little while back and hardly touched the damn thing until just recently.
Yeah.
But I will say that it intimidates the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I am a very technologically minded guy. I know how to do stuff with computers, but TikTok, it does scare me. And also, it's a certain type of humor sometimes and just a type of entertainment that I don't always get. Mm-hmm. I hope that I'm not disconnecting myself from my listeners here.
You're aging yourself.
I know a lot of people like TikToks. But
yeah.
My main thing here about TikTok is I just want to let any of you listeners out there who make your own TikToks that I see you. And I think you are an artsy and creative person. Mm-hmm. Because to me, I do not find TikTok to be user-friendly at all. I don't like the act of making them. I feel like I need more options or have more buttons available for me to know what to do with what.
Yeah.
And some of you people out there who will set the timer and, do a time lapse of you cleaning a room for an hour and then playing it on fast forward for 10 seconds or whatever, you go and you put in the legwork to say, my hour worth of effort is worth this 10 seconds of enjoyment.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know that coming from a creative industry, I went to school for audio, there is a lot of stuff that they taught us that, it's good to go the long way around, or it's good to, do like the pure way of doing things. Like, don't get just a sample of claps, go get in front of a microphone and record yourself clapping and get some, get the real...
create your own stuff.
Yeah, you're really going out of your way to do it the right way. And even when I go to record songs sometimes, I'll just be like, meh, I don't want to go set up an amp and record the guitar like this. I'm just going to plug it directly in and I'm going to try to do a bunch of effects to make it sound as real as possible instead of just getting out the mic and doing the hard thing.
Yeah.
But the amount of time that some of these people put into editing a TikTok and getting those transitions perfectly and just all of that stuff, I'm telling you, you don't have to just keep yourself to just this app. You actually have great ideas and you have a creative way of expressing yourself, and you could easily take that if you feel passionate enough about that and you're not just doing it to have people say, oh, you are funny or whatever. You could take that and you could go direct a movie or something.
Yeah.
You could do that. There's no reason to just limit yourself to TikTok because you're not lazy at all. As much as it seems like it's just kind of a weird fad that I don't get, it's a very good creative output for people.
Oh, yeah.
And I do like that people are doing something constructive, even though it does come out in the form of a app that just makes people mindlessly scroll for hours and lose their life, not realizing what they're doing. The act of creating that stuff is no joke.
No, it's not. I recently did a TikTok where I kind of like recapped one of our petty crime stories and I used news articles to go behind myself. And I was just like, dang, there's like a lot to this. I had to write out a script to it. I had to find all the screenshots for the backgrounds. I had to sit in a certain way to make the background show up good. There's a lot to it. They're not quick things most of the time.
No, and
Yeah.
this is my thing is, why the hell can't I just own a file and upload the audio file of my own and then use it? Instead, I have to go into a video maker, put my audio into a video of a picture, upload it, post it privately to myself, and then extract the sound from it and save it as a favorite so that I can use that music in the background later.
Yeah.
Why the hell can't you just upload it? If you're a TikTok user and you know the long way around doing that, I guarantee you that if you were sitting at like an iMac or something and you were working on a movie or doing stuff for an actual film, it's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier than the long way around
Right.
with TikTok and stuff like that.
Right.
Just don't think that that's not a skill,
Don't limit yourself.
because that is indeed a skill.
Wow. Well, preach, brother.
And I'm jealous of all of you that can do it.
Oh my God, I love it. We'll get there one day, Trevin. I do too also have a dreadful dilemma. So I don't know why this is so dreadful to me or why it's slightly embarrassing to me, but I've been having, some pregnancy cravings. And one of them is, it really probably shouldn't embarrass me the way that it does, but it does for some reason. I have been craving Arnold Palmer's, Trevin.
Oh, my sister just had those on Friday night, and I was talking about those.
I don't know what it is. It's literally just tea and lemonade. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole because I was like, Jordan, I'm addicted to these Arnold Palmer drinks everywhere we go. If it's on the menu, I am getting it. I make like my decaffeinated tea, even though, oh my God, there's so many things, so many rules when you're pregnant. They're like, don't drink a lot of caffeine, but oh my God, the decaf stuff is even worse for you. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, people. I'm just trying my best.
Yeah, nobody knows what they're doing.
But I'll make like a decaffeinated tea and put lemonade in it and whatever. And I was like, I don't even know who Arnold Palmer is, but I'm obsessed with this guy's drink.
He's a golfer, wasn't he?
He's a golfer.
Yeah.
I researched it because I love this drink so much. He's a golfer that he would always order that, and then the name just kind of stuck with him. And after I did a little more research, I realized that an Arnold Palmer is unsweetened tea with lemonade, and a Winnie Palmer is sweetened tea and lemonade. So
Is
I
that his
actually
wife?
like, yeah, it was his wife.
That's cool. I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either because everyone just says Arnold Palmer. But technically, I guess I'm addicted to the Winnie Palmers because I like my shit sweet. Anyway, I don't know why it's so embarrassing, but like I always tell Jordan, like, oh, when I'm getting home, I'm making myself an Arnold Palmer. And I'm like, I sound like a freak.
I love a good Arnold Palmer.
And I know, like, when you're not pregnant, you can add vodka to it, and apparently that's great,
The
too.
Texas sweet tea that I talked about in the whatever episode that was. No, that was the episode where I had the blue mustache.
Oh, yes.
The Texas sweet tea is basically just an alcoholic Arnold Palmer, where it was the tea flavored vodka, regular vodka, and lemonade.
Oh, okay.
And some people would do a little bit of grenadine or a cherry or something. But
Oh, God.
yeah, and that's a great alcoholic drink.
It's a game changer. Wow. I have to try that once this baby's out. But
we don't do it.
but that's my dreadful dilemma. I know it's not that embarrassing or weird. I've had other pregnant friends crave things that are like literally unedible items. But for some reason, I just feel so weird craving this one drink.
Hey, if that's the worst, you're not doing bad.
Okay.
And maybe this will be something that sticks with you going forward, and you'll just, you'll be a middle-aged mom on your back porch, and your kids will be like, Mom, always drinking those Arnold Palmers.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's kind of fancy.
I'm fine with that. So this week we are doing a game of Would You Rather.
Would you rather?
And I will be going first this week.
Okay, let's do it.
I am using collegetimes.com again, which I promise this is the last time I'm using college times for Would You Rather, because all the other ones I didn't like, so I got to start figuring it out again.
Damn.
But I like this one, and I thought I want to roll with it and just go with it.
Yeah.
So, would you rather have to say all of your sentences backwards or have to communicate through charades?
Oh, charades all the way.
Yeah, I feel like that was going to be kind of easy for you.
I just feel like, what is that called? Like pig Latin that people do?
Oh, where it's the end of the word and then you end it with the first sound of a word with an A at the end. So it'd be like igpay instead of pig.
Yeah, like something lame like that. Yeah. Well, I hate it. I hate it all. And first of all, I don't like listening to it. I don't like being around it. I don't like having to think that hard to speak. And I would definitely rather act it out.
I totally get that. I can do pig Latin just fine, but I think if it were for me, I would rather have to speak backwards. It would slow me down a lot, and I'd probably have to cancel the show. But, well, I guess if you had to do charades, you have to cancel the show too, unless you're going to be a TikTok podcast or a YouTube podcast.
Yeah.
I guess you could, I don't know if it would be cheating to learn sign language or not, but I don't like to express myself physically that much, so charades would really bug me.
That makes sense. See, I do. I would act out anything. That would be actually kind of fun, temporarily. If I had to do it for the rest of my life, like you're saying, I would hate it.
Technically, the would you rather was for a week, but I just kind of left it hanging as would you rather. But
okay.
But yeah, if it, for a week or whatever, I'd.
Well, both sound like people would hate you afterwards, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I have a would you rather. It's kind of a terrifying situation. Either option you choose. Would you rather have to fight off, and there's two different animals that are trying to attack you. Would you rather fight off a bear or a shark?
Oh, probably a bear.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, I need at least the comfort of, not being in water.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, for some reason,
the cuddliness.
I thought you were going to say, I just need the comfort of a furry animal.
It does help.
The water makes much more sense. Okay.
I would rather kill a shark than a bear, but I would feel like I'd have a better chance with a bear.
Have you seen the movie, though, where Leo...
The Remnant?
What am I...
Revenant?
Yes, The Remnant. Have you seen that where Leo is attacked by the bear?
Yeah, that was an intense little scene.
Oh, God.
I like that director a lot.
You would still choose the bear after seeing that.
Yeah, I still think, you might get lucky and get a little throat slit in there or something. Like, what am I going to do? I know they say punch a shark in the nose, but through the resistance of water, you're not going to have...
I know. See, honestly... I'm not even like the best swimmer, but for some reason, I think I would choose the shark.
I also have like a fear of if you were like, say you're in the middle of the ocean, you can't see anything underneath you or know where it's coming.
That's true. You have a lot of things against you, but I just feel like a bear wants to keep fighting you until the death.
Yeah.
Where like a shark, they'll get a little bite and be like, bye.
Yeah, and then you're bleeding and then another shark will just finish.
That's true.
Now, if I can fight that shark on land...
A land shark?
Just go drop it on the land, let it flop, and I just beat it.
That sounds fun. Oh, yeah. No, it doesn't. No. Anyway, I really don't like animal cruelty, people. But yeah, I don't know. The Remnant, if I wouldn't have seen that movie, maybe I would have chosen the bear. But I'm telling you, that movie was kind of a game changer for me when it comes to bears.
Yeah, that was... Oh, I really like that movie.
Oh my God, so scary.
Ready not the movie that he should have got the Oscar for, but I'm glad he got the Oscar for it.
Yeah, God, it was about time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so are we already at stories?
We're at stories.
Oh my God.
And I'm going first this week.
Okay.
I'm doing a story from the news, and I think I'm just going to roll with it.
Okay.
And we can talk about it after.
Fair enough.
All right. And here we go. In the world that we all inhabit, there are signals and cues that are there to keep us on the right path. Furniture purchased through IKEA comes with a set of instructions. Meals have multiple different recipes. And even our roads are directed with various signs and lights.
I'm walking here.
These directions are provided to help you have a better experience, and sometimes even keep you from dying. It's fairly obvious, if you spend any time observing human behavior, that we should never be left to our own devices. Ignore a recipe, and you may have a cake that doesn't rise.
Happy birthday to me.
Or act oblivious to road signs and find yourself in a wreck. Some of these are simply recommendations, and others are rules with extreme consequences. But one thing is for certain: they are pivotal for the survival of our species. Without these proposals, our society would descend into a state of chaos. We would live in a world full of people eating foods way past expiration, citizens slipping on unmarked wet floors, and open flames next to gas pumps. It would be a world of sheer madness. Fortunately, though, we have these signs in place. Thanks to companies like OSHA, the Department of Transportation, and the FDA, our world is littered with instructions. As long as you have a first grade reading level, or have a basic understanding of what symbols stand for, you should be able to navigate humanity. This is usually the part in my stories where I explain how I've struggled with the subject at hand. I've racked my brain and paced around for hours, but I can't think of one moment in my past where I didn't follow directions. I am a flawless being who always makes the correct decision. If there has ever been a time where I didn't obey a public recommendation, my way was actually better. Therefore, it was not memorable. The story I will be presenting is about a man who does not have the same adherence to the rules as I do. Choosing instead to blaze his own trail in life, he will see just how far the reckless path will take him. James was a 28-year-old man living in Abingdon, Oxfordshire, in the UK. His life was one big financial struggle after another. Keeping up with rent was hard enough in this economy, but James had one other vice that kept his wallet empty: drugs. A lot of times, James could not decide which he would be spending his money on. Sure, the rent was due each month, but his appetite for drugs came just as regularly.
I could really go for some drugs right now.
He was in a bad way. Mr. Charles, James's landlord, would leave notices on the door harassing him about paying rent, while drug dealer Jerry would send his goons to spray paint things like "Where's my money?" and "Ass butt" on Jerry's car.
That'll show them.
The signs were too obvious to ignore. But for James, it was easy to keep looking forward and disregard the evidence piling up. And so they continued. James blissfully went about his life, while both his landlord and drug dealer continued getting more and more angry. That was until one day when Jerry's goons kicked open his door. "Where's Jerry's money?" the goon yelled, as he chased James down and held a knife to him. "I don't have it. I'm in the process of trying to get a new job," James squealed. "How do you suggest I pay him back if I'm unemployed?" Pointing the knife at James, the goon said, "You have 24 hours to get Jerry his money, or I'm going to come back here and break both your legs." As the goon slowly began to walk out of the apartment, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a toy gun. "Here," the goon said, as he tossed the gun at James. "If you can't get the money, there's always robbery." James was stressed out beyond belief. Maybe if he had followed the directions earlier, things wouldn't have escalated to these heights. But that was in the past now. James needed to plan the robbery that was going to save his legs. After spending no time thinking about the perfect target, James decided that the Martin McCall newsagent's shop would be the perfect place for a holdup. People like to spend their money on printed news, he thought to himself. A magazine shop should have tons of money. Without any preparation, James put on a black ski mask and ran down the street to the Martin McCall newsagents. He kicked open the door and approached the woman behind the counter. "Empty the register and I'll let you live," James said while pointing the toy gun at the cashier. The woman opened up the register and fumbled around frantically. She dumped the money in a bag and handed it to James. "Thanks," James quickly said as he ran towards the door. Just as James had reached the door, he was stopped abruptly. "What the hell?" James yelled. Continuously pushing and yelling, the panic began to set in. "The door won't open! You locked me in here!" He began to scream at the cashier. Standing behind the counter, the woman spoke up. "The sign says pull. You have to pull the door open." Ignoring the pull sign in front of him, and now not listening to exactly what the cashier was saying, James pulled off his mask and continued to yell back at the woman.
Let me out! Let me out!
He knew that it was just a matter of time before the police would show up. He couldn't stay in that building just waiting to get arrested. He began to kick the door, trying to break it open. He kicked the door 2 times, and on the third one, he put all of his power into it, causing him to lose his footing. The force from the kick launched James backwards, hitting a drink display, sending him and dozens of sodas to the ground. While James stumbled to get himself back up to his feet, the cashier walked around the counter and awkwardly approached the door. She calmly pulled the door open and held it for James. Astounded at what just transpired, James ran out of the store and escaped out of sight. In July of 2012, James Allen, a down-on-his-luck man from Abingdon, Oxfordshire, held up a magazine shop with a toy gun. Ignoring the pull sign, he frantically pushed and kicked the door, even falling down, until the woman he just robbed came over to open the door for him. In his act of panic and frustration, James had taken off his ski mask to yell at the cashier, allowing the store's CCTV camera to identify him. Just 3 hours after the incident, police found James walking down the same street as the magazine shop with the ski mask in his back pocket. The toy gun was found in a trash can nearby as well. When placed in the police car, Mr. Allen began to cry and said that he needed to pay rent. Later in questioning, he also stated that his dealer had threatened to hurt him and suggested he rob a place for money. James Allen ended up only making around $150 from the magazine shop's register. He was sentenced to 3 years in jail for the robbery, with an additional 2 years added for possession of an imitation firearm. Hopefully this story can show you the importance of following directions. Although some of these rules may seem silly at first, a lot of them are there to aid you in life. Some may even help you get away with a petty crime. There are so many opportunities that can come with sticking to the suggestions laid out in front of you. Like the saying goes, when one door closes, another one opens, as long as it's opened in the proper way.
Okay. So here on Seriously Sinister podcast, we have discussed many embarrassing, awkward, or shameful robberies. But this one might have to be the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, the lovely gal that you just robbed had to open the door for you. You got $150.
Mhm.
And did you say he got 2 years added for having a toy gun?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How much more embarrassing can it get?
5 years in prison and you didn't get shit.
Oh my
basically.
God.
And it's funny too, because the video is online and she does kind of like awkwardly walk up. She's got like her hands kind of up to her chest, like, I want to approach you because this is just so damn sad. But, and then she just slowly walks up there and she kind of goes out of frame a little bit and you can just see the top of her head and you can tell she's holding the door open. And he just gets up after stumbling and he knocks a whole drink stand over, like one of those Coke things with all the bottles on it. And all the bottles are going flying. And then he's like, gets up and just like walks out.
Oh my God. See, I'm wondering what her motivation to actually do that was. Was it because she thought it was so embarrassing? Or did she really believe that the gun was real? So she's like, the longer this guy stays in here
It could have been that.
and panics over the damn door. Or like, I don't know, man. I think I'd just be like, Paul, you dipshit.
Yeah. It could have been a matter of time until he put the gun to her and was like, come get me out of here or something.
Oh
so
my
it's probably better
God.
to let the animal out of the cage.
Yeah, probably. Oh my God. Oh my God. And your New Jersey accent was so good.
I had to be the goon gangster.
Yeah, no, I love it. I did a Jersey accent recently too from Canada.
Yeah.
And yours was in
England.
that weird name of a town.
Abingdon, Oxfordshire.
Oh my God.
I guess that's not England, but the United Kingdoms.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah. So for some reason, these Jersey goons are everywhere.
Wow. You just never know when they're going to pop up.
Yeah.
Well, that was amazing. Honestly, I'm like, the secondhand embarrassment for this guy that I'm feeling, usually I don't really feel secondhand embarrassment. Like, I'll just kind of laugh, but I'm just like cringing in my own skin thinking about this.
There's a show called I Think You Should Leave, I think is what it's called. It's a Netflix show. It's very alternative comedy. And he does like all these stupid ass skits. I have to show you this skit. But it's a scene like that where this guy, the show is so cringy. If you don't like to cringe or if you think cringing makes you feel good, this show is perfect. But he like has this talk with a guy, I think it's like a job interview. And he goes to leave and he goes to pull on the door. And he's like, And he looks at the guy weird and he's like, oh no, it's a push. You can just push and leave. And he's like, no, it's a pull. I know it. And he's like, no, it's a push. It's my office. I know. And he's like, no, it's a pull. And so he just sits there and you just see the guy pulling super hard. And he looks him dead in the eyes while like sweating and like pulling on the door until eventually you can hear the door start to bend and break. And he pulls it open and he goes, see? And then he just like walks out the
He
door.
did not get that job.
No, it's hilarious. I love that show.
Oh my God. Yeah. A lot of people cringe at like The Office, like Michael Scott, which there are times where I do. Okay. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, sure.
But for the majority of the time, I can watch that kind of stuff and be fine. But wow, that one sounds intense.
Yeah, everything they do, every single skit is just a lesson in cringe.
Wow. Well, great job. I guess it's on to my story now.
It is.
Okay, so I actually have a special story from the news this week.
Special.
It is special because all of you listening out there could still help solve the case.
Oh, an interactive one. People like crime things where they feel like they can help out, be the sleuth or something.
Exactly. So here we go. Attention to all our doomed crew internet sleuths. Do you find yourself staying up all night scrolling through message boards about unsolved crimes? Are you someone who has hacked into your ex's social media accounts for closure?
What does she mean I'm overcompensating for something?
Could you even be a person who sees into the souls of strangers passing by you on the streets?
Guilty, robber, creepy uncle?
If you are any of the above, then listen up. You could be the key to crack this case wide open. You could be the one that brings a sketchy petty criminal to justice. Francis was a thin young man with a twirly mustache and expensive taste. He was very much inspired by the arts and enjoyed a good debate about what made art good.
Lots of butts.
Even though Francis was a self-proclaimed art critic, he struggled to create his own masterpieces. When he tried glass blowing, he set his own pants on fire. And when he tried pottery, his 85-year-old teacher tried to recreate the romantic clay scene from the movie Ghost.
Just go with it, Francis.
It was just no use. He almost gave up on art altogether, until one of his friends looked through his sketchbook.
What do we have here?
Francis tried to grab it from his friend, embarrassed that his portraits of people always turned out looking like cartoons. But his friend let out a gasp of excitement when she looked inside. "You should totally become a caricature artist," she exclaimed. Francis pondered the idea. He did enjoy being called an artist, and he loved pointing out others' flaws. This really could be a great idea. From that day forward, Francis jumped headfirst into his caricature business. He worked at carnivals, kids' birthday parties, and even set up shop on the street corners like a snobbish hipster artist would. Francis would greet his customers with a cold handshake and pursed lips, looking them up and down before drawing them. He loved accentuating people's large foreheads, droopy eyes, and snaggle teeth, and was really starting to become more experienced with his craft. So when the 2019 California Festival of Lights was announced, he immediately signed up to be an artist vendor. This would be his chance to make some big bucks and to spread his name as the best caricature artist in all of California. Francis sat in his artist chair judging and examining every passerby, planning out their overly exaggerated cartoon selves in his brain.
Drawing that schnoz would take all day.
Regardless of Francis's resting bitch face, he was selling caricatures like crazy and had almost made $500 so far. He smiled and giggled to himself as he counted his money that he kept in a velvet bag. That is when he was rudely interrupted by his next customer, and he had to get back to work. The young man that had approached Francis's booth appeared to be in his early 20s. The man was on the shorter side, about 5'1", with an average build and a dark black mustache. There was a laziness to his eyes that made the man look constantly bored. His cheeks were as chubby as a newborn, and his lips took up the majority of space on his face. This would be easy, thought Francis. That is when he asked the man to sit down and began to get into his Leonardo DiCaprio zone from Titanic.
Would you mind wearing nothing but this necklace? What the fuck?
Francis began to sketch the man, glancing up ever so often and flipping his hair out of his eyes. The man sat there as still as a statue, looking just as bored as ever. As Francis was coloring in the last bit of red in the man's backwards cap, his muse had hopped up from his chair. In a flash, the man had grabbed Francis's velvet bag of cash, leaving his caricature behind. Francis was left stunned, clinging onto his latest caricature without any of his earnings from the event. His shock quickly turned to rage as he packed up his artist equipment and headed towards the local police station. Francis kicked open the police officer's door, caricature in hand, as he yelled, "I am here to report a crime against the arts, and I demand that you all help me find this criminal." The officers looked up from their desk and stared at the cartoon portrait with their mouths agape. Francis did end up filing a police report with the Riverside Police Department, who then made a public post on their social media accounts in the hopes of catching the wanted thief. Along with a photo of the criminal's caricature drawing, they wrote, "Do you recognize this caricature? And no, we are not kidding." This bizarre crime of a sketch and run captivated news outlets all over the country. However, the criminal has yet to be found. It is unsolved crimes like these that keep us up at night on message boards and looking in the background of TikToks and YouTube videos, just hoping that one of us will see that familiar pair of lazy eyes or the undeniable chubby cheeks on a grown man. It is a case that will become all-consuming if you let it, and has the possibility to change the way that we all look at artwork. If you, or anyone you know, recognizes this caricature drawing, please contact us at Seriously Sinister Podcast. Or, I guess you could also reach out to the Riverside Police Department, who are the ones actually leading this investigation.
Yeah, I think we could use the get on that, though, so you could bring it to us, and then we could go to the police.
Yeah. Like, you can totally bring it to us first. It's okay.
It's a very corporate thing. Give it to us, we'll take the credit. But it's all for a good cause.
I have to show you this caricature real quick.
Yeah, I'm just picturing like this stupid dude, like those weird caricatures where the guy has a big head and he's driving a little car and has like a propeller hat on or something, like really cheesy.
Okay, this is the drawing. Here we go.
That's sillier than I thought it was going to be.
Do you understand why I said he had lazy eyes?
Yeah.
And big chubby cheeks.
Yeah, I like that wording choice. His eyes had a certain laziness to them.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, this guy looks bored AF. I've never seen eyes so lazy in my life.
What a silly choice, like to actually sit down and get sketched and then steal
He
from
got
him.
fully sketched. He looks like, I don't know, that almost looks like a work shirt.
Yeah.
And just the fact that that was the only thing that the police station had to go off of, like, do you know this man? And it's like this goofy ass caricature. And they even had to explain on the post, like, you know, his facial features may have been distorted. This is indeed a caricature. Like, they had to like spell it out for people.
Wow.
And yeah, he's yet to be found. This happened in 2019, so it is a few years old. But I have faith in our doomed crew. I think once I post the picture, someone can find this guy.
Yeah, I know a lot of you are armchair detectives, so just take that and age it up a few years. Because I know you've got the technology and that's real. And we'll get this bastard.
I mean, can you believe? And so there's no information on the artist or what their business even is. I looked at so many articles trying to find out what the character artist name was, what the business was, anything about the guy. I have zero information. Apparently, no one cared about the poor guy who got $500 robbed. So I kind of made him sound like a snobbish little tool.
Yeah.
Who knows? He's probably a great guy, for all I know.
And the police probably just don't think that his problems are important.
Yeah, and to be honest, we've dealt with crimes that are worth way more than $500. But God, that as an artist myself, I would be really, really distraught to have $500 stolen from me.
Yeah.
Like you said, this dude let me sit down with him and fully draw him and then stole my money. Like, he couldn't just come up to me and like grab the bag and run. I had to draw this dude first.
Yeah, not only did you lose $500, but you also lost your hourly, time for what you would put into that.
Yeah. I just thought the whole entire story was so weird. Just a really weird robbery. Honestly, both of our stories were, though.
Yeah, I mean, and what if this guy was just a really great artist and he was like, yeah, I do caricatures on the side, and then he draws a perfect version of him afterwards?
Right.
I mean, he had enough time to stare at his face.
Right.
I'm surprised he didn't take a crack at it.
I know, because this is really exaggerated stuff. I mean, like I said, his lips take up most of the space on his face. And it's like, there's no wonder he hasn't been caught from just this drawing.
And you know the most fucked up thing about it all?
What?
Is even though he did leave that behind, he probably saw that in the news and like right-click saved as and still kept his caricature of himself.
You're so right.
He got it for free.
He totally clicked save as. He printed it. He has it framed on his bedroom wall.
He might have put it on a nightshirt.
Oh my God. This man, the gall.
I knew you were going to say the gall.
You're so freaking right. I mean, I would never do this, but if I did do it, I'd still want the character. I mean, he obviously sat through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow, 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 wow. Well, the main connections I can think of are both kind of weird and obnoxious robberies that really weren't for that much money.
Yeah, low stakes.
Slightly embarrassing. I mean, yours is extremely embarrassing.
Yeah.
My guy, at least, I mean, it's kind of a goofy drawing of him, but is it really that embarrassing? I don't know for him.
What if he really did look exactly like that and it just wasn't exaggerated?
What if one of our listeners is like, that's my brother? I know those baby cheeks anywhere.
It's kind of like in the, I think it was Scary Movie 3. So they're doing the spoof of The Ring, how after anybody watches the video, in their pictures, their faces are distorted and like twisted.
Oh, yeah.
And they're at the funeral of one of the girls who died from the girl coming out of the TV.
Yes.
And they're like going through the photos and like, oh my God, what happened to this person? And it's a person with the distorted face. And like, oh, that's just Ted over there. And there's a guy with a huge deformed like squiggle face.
That is indeed Scary Movie 3.
Yes.
One of my favorites of all time. Oh my God. Oh wow. Yeah. It's yeah, I would if I was walking down the street and I saw this guy looking exactly like this, I'd probably pee my pants.
Yeah. You probably would. Especially now.
Especially right now. Oh my God, Trevin. Well, what a good time.
What a nice one. So guys, gear up. Next week is the 1 year episode. I'm not sure what we're going to do. We'll probably just talk about ourselves, but it's still going to be exciting. And if you want to congratulate us, give us a 5-star at the Spotify or the Apple or the Stitcher or Good Pods, wherever you like to hand out stars. If you want to put a gold star on a calendar for us, do that. I don't care. I like stars.
What? Yeah. Just like mail us a gold star. Why don't you?
Yeah, I'll wear it on my shirt that day.
I love a good star.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, before we head out, I did kind of want to read a really sweet message from a new listener to us.
Oh, yes. This one warmed my heart.
I know. So shout out to Vineyard Warrior on Instagram because she just sent us the sweetest message the other day. And I was like, oh my freaking God. So she said, hello there. I am a big podcast fan, and being out in the vineyard gives me almost unlimited listening time. I get to listen a lot. I jumped in and started listening from episode 1 last Saturday and have made it to episode 31 in under a week.
Oh,
Definitely.
That's so nice.
I'm so sorry if you're annoyed with us yet. But then she goes on to say, definitely a binge-worthy show. I love every bit of it. I really enjoy what you two are doing. Keep up the amazing work. You have a new listener for life. Also, I've been sharing with as many people as I can. Thank you for your time. Like, are you freaking kidding me?
It's so nice. I love hearing stuff like that. And just to run through it that fast is awesome.
Oh my God. I know. I guess our first episodes, kind of like we were talking about earlier, were a lot shorter. But man, she made it all the way to 31.
Yeah.
Woo! I mean, that is mad props to you. I guess she's out in the vineyard all day, though. It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. The vineyard, I believe, is the Wagner Vineyard Estates Winery, and that is in New York's Finger Lakes.
Whoa.
So if any of our Doom Crew listeners are around there, support them. Go get some wine from them and, share a quote. Maybe they'll know it.
Yeah, I love that. I just love that so much. I'm picturing this gorgeous vineyard and her hair flowing in the wind, just listening to our corny petty crime stories.
Fart sound effects.
It brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, nothing pairs better with our podcast than a beautiful vineyard.
Yeah, God, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, I never thought of it like that until just today.
Well, everyone, thank you so much. I can't wait for next week's episode.
Yes, I'm super stoked.
You want to take us out of here, Trevin?
Yeah, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, always use the door correctly.
And we're all doomed. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Seriously Sinister.
If you have a true petty crime story to share, please email us at seriouslysinisterpodcast@gmail.com or send us a Facebook message.
If you would like to support our show, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review.
Also, tell your friends about this podcast.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Seriously Sinister Podcast.
And on Twitter at SeriouslySinPod.
Shout out to Trevin for writing all of the original music you hear and for producing our show. Follow him and his music at Fiesta Maiden on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Facebook.
And credit to Miranda Lucas for our awesome logo. You can find her on Instagram at MirandaLucas26.
All stories are written by myself and Trevin, and all stories are based on actual, true petty crimes.
Welcome to Seriously Sinister. When you bite into a freshly chocolate... God damn it. Ooh, I've never messed an intro up before.
Wow! I know. I was like, this has never happened.
Let's try that again.